Good morning, everyone. This is Grizzly907LA, your IAO tech guy. And today we're going to talk about something that has to do with technology, but it's not necessarily computers or Linux distributions. It's about e-cigarettes. And I know there are like 1,001 e-cigarette channels out there on YouTube that talk about e-cigarettes and brands, mods, juices. And I'm not going to go into detail about that stuff, but I'm going to give you all a general overview about the e-cigarette and its many benefits. So let me get my outline out here, or else this will be like a 30-minute video. So let's talk about my experience with e-cigarettes. Back in November of 2011, I gave up smoking cigarettes, and the reason why I gave up smoking cigarettes is because of the fact that I was having chest pains and shortness of breath. Now, if y'all notice, you're not seeing my face because, quite frankly, I've had death threats from comments I made on YouTube and from some of the videos on my other channel that I've produced. So I prefer not to show my face. It gives the whole man of mystique. And yes, I am overweight, so another good reason for me to get off of smoking. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying about e-cigarettes. I was smoking cigarettes. I was having chest pains. And the thing that really killed it for me was earlier, maybe actually it was a year ago, I was helping a friend, well, not a friend anymore because it was the move from hell, move his stuff in, and I hadn't worked out, I haven't exercised. I can handle sore muscles, I can handle muscle pain, I've had it before. Anytime you go to the gym and start out, you're going to get a muscle pain. That doesn't bother me, but what really kicked my butt was the fact of the matter was that I was having shortness of breath and just being winded and exhausted from moving stuff. And that just really, hit me pretty hard. And I tried to quit smoking cold turkey. I go 30 days, and then I wanted to, start killing people and punching babies. And it just wasn't working. I knew I had to quit smoking. Quite frankly, the sick truth of it is that I love smoking. I love smoking cigarettes. I still love cigars. I just don't do them as much anymore because Obama jacked up the tobacco taxes, and smoking cigars is a different experience than smoking a cigarette. So finally, after just going through this cycle and just bashing my head up against the wall, I think I saw an ad for, somewhere for blue cigs and e-cigarettes, and I started doing a little research, and I ordered the Blue Starter Kit like many people have done. Needless to say, I was very underwhelmed by the product. I was smoking them like a fiend. The batteries would go out. They didn't have long battery life. The cartridges wouldn't last that long, and then I moved up to the Eagle Style battery, which is right here. Which is the Eagle Style battery, and I started using the tanks that came with it. And 3 years ago, those tanks weren't very good. They weren't very good at all. They leaked a lot. They were a pain in the butt. And actually, for a while, I didn't use the e-cig that much. And to be fair, I have smoked in the last 3 years a pack of cigarettes every once in a while. And mind you, I wasn't a heavy smoker. I smoked it took me about, a week and a half to get through a pack. And, it wasn't working for me. I think one is because both my parents were heavy smokers. They smoked in the house, and that might have something to do with it. I wasn't like a 3-pack a day smoker. I wasn't a super heavy smoker, but it was kicking my ass. So I had to make a change, and I've been doing the e-cigs now on and off for over 3 years, and quite frankly, I love these things. They're very they're in the long run, they're cheaper than buying cigarettes. They're not gonna kill you because nicotine, in and of itself, is about the same level as caffeine. So, and you can even, and I'll go into it, you can even get the e-juice and zero nicotine. And, now I've talked about that and the fact that I switched, and I'm happy that I switched. I love e-cigs. And, if I wanted to, I could wean off the nicotine, because that's not the thing that kills you when you smoke a cigarette. What kills you is all the carcinogens, the toxins, and the crap they put in a cigarette. When you light that chemical cocktail up, it releases carcinogens into your lungs, and that's what gives you the lung cancer, the emphysema, the COPD, and the other smoking-related ailments. Let's talk about the e-cigarette itself for a minute. It was invented by a man named Han Lick. He was a Chinese pharmacist. he was a heavy smoker, but really motivated him to create the e-cig was that his father was a heavy smoker and died a horrible lung cancer related death. If you hear this noise, it's my air conditioner, and the sun hits my building and it heats it up like an oven, so I gotta have it on. I will filter it out though. So Heimlich invented the e-cig, and it's a very simple device, and we're gonna break it down for you. There's a battery inside here, and what the battery does is you screw on a tank or atomizer or cartomizer, and what the battery does is make contact with it, sends electricity up to a part in it that heats a coil or a wick, and what that does is it turns the liquid inside to water vapor, and you ingest the water vapor, and that's how you get your nicotine hit. I don't know if you can see that or not, but what I'm exhaling is harmless water vapor, and the e-liquid is a solution of either propylene glycol or vegetable glycol. Propylene glycol is the same stuff they use in nebulizers for asthma sufferers and air purifiers and other equipment. Now, don't give me this crap about, well, they use the carbon antifreeze, and the opponents of e-cigarettes, who are a bunch of dumbasses, and the ones that support the tobacco industry, want you to believe that the propylene glycol is actually the toxic part of the e-liquid, which it's not. But of course, most idiots will believe that because they're just dumbasses and stupid. No, what else? Think for me. What else is an antifreeze? It's just not propylene glycol. It's a lot of other crap, and that's the other crap that's going to kill you, not the propylene glycol. People who have asthma ingest propylene glycol into their system. Okay. When they use their nebulizers, so it's totally safe. And there's also a vegetable glycol, which is derived from plants, and some people prefer a PG, which is propylene glycol, and others prefer a VG, which is vegetable glycol. And so that's how you get the nicotine in the system. It's about 1,000 times as harmless than sucking on a regular cigarette. It doesn't smell. It doesn't stink like, you don't stink like 2 weeks of unwashed ash. You don't smell like an ashtray. And on top of that, you're not bellowing out dangerous secondhand cigarette smoke. This is water vapor. This is the same stuff that they use in fog machines in Hollywood. And a lot of people that have gotten on the e-cigarette have been able to kick the cigarette habit. And my dad was a lifelong smoker. He started smoking at 17 years old when he was in the Navy so he could get a break. And I don't see the whole logic you want to have a cigarette to get a break. You should just be able to get a fucking break when you need it. Pardon my language. And I'm gonna try not to cuss in this. In this video. And I wish the e-cigarette came out like 40 years ago, because my dad could have switched to it and he would still probably be alive today, because he died from a combination of things, and that was poor diet. He loved nothing but red meat and potatoes, and drank coffee, drank booze, and smoked like a chimney. But I figure if you could cut out one of those things, it might have extended his life, because I think in that whole Bermuda Triangle of death, I think smoking is probably the leading factor. It takes up 2/3 of that triangle, with the other third with diet and exercise being the smaller part of it. And getting back to the e-liquid, these e-liquids also have flavoring in them, and that's the cool thing. That's the thing I like about e-cigs, is the fact that they have flavoring in them. And conversely enough, the nicotine flavors in e-cigarettes, I don't personally like. I think they're nasty. But right now, the one I'm puffing on right now, the one I'm vaping on, is a chocolate mint. Now, granted, the advantage to an e-cigarette is over the long term, you will save a lot of money. You will not be spending money on cartons of cigarettes. You won't be, going broke trying to, get your fix. Now, yeah, the initial startup cost is a little expensive, especially if you want to get a good, really good, decent e-cig. Like this starter kit right here without the tank, this MVP, is cost me about $50. And it's well worth it, though, because over a period of time, the refills are much cheaper. The e-liquid is so much cheaper, and the replacement coils for this thing are so much cheaper than buying cigarettes. So initially, yeah, you're going to have to cough up some money in the initial startup. And if you just want to get started on the cheap, you can get one of these Ego style batteries for like for $20. You can get a starter kit for around $20, and it gives you the battery, it gives you the tank and a charger. And this will be able to get your foot in the door. And as you continue to do it, you'll definitely invest in better tanks, better batteries, etc. And it's well worth it, because as I said before, you save money in the long run. Plus, you're saving your health, and you're not bellowing in a bunch of toxins and chemicals. Actually, I'm sorry. This was actually cafe mocha. This is chocolate mint. And it's a very simple device, and people do mods, and they build all sorts of nice and wonderful things. That's not my thing. I try to keep it simple. I'm not trying to use batteries and all that other crap. So let's see. Okay. And the e-cig is taken off, because I remember back in 2001, I had to order most of my e-cig stuff online because brick and mortar retailers did not have it in stock. And if they did, it was those crappy disposable cigarettes like the Enjoy. And I guess they're not crappy. They're just not as good as something like this Camry X6 or the iTaste MVP. They're just, they'll get you started though. I got started on Blue Cig. I was disappointed. I moved to something better, but it got me in the door. And actually, before I even got the Blue Cig kit, I tried the disposable ones, and I was just blown away. And I loved it so much because when I vaped on it, I wasn't, it wasn't as harsh and nasty as the cigarette, and I was just loving it. I was just vaping on it like a fiend, and I was just going through disposable ones, and then I got the Blue Cigs, and I was just hitting those like a fiend too, and I was just going through it because it's just like, oh man, I'm not coughing up as much. I'm not feeling crappy. I don't smell like an ass or an ashtray. Ashtray, there you go. And I was just so happy that it wasn't killing my lungs. And I also figure out why the e-cigs become so popular is because I know about the patches, I know about the gum. My dad tried them all, it didn't work. He was in a convalescent home because he broke his collarbone, and they wouldn't let him smoke, so they gave him the patch. And when he was on the patch, he wanted to smoke even more. And I go cold turkey, and I really don't think it's about the nicotine, because once you go cold turkey, the nicotine gets out of your system filters out of your system pretty fast. You know what it is? It's the habit. It's the having something in your hand. It's the oral fixation. And it was a social thing for me, as well as when I was emotional or having problems, I'd smoke cigarettes as a way to cope. I always used to joke with people. It's like, yeah, I'm smoking again because I'm having feelings, and this is a good, and this is having this thing in your hand and hanging out with your friends and smoking. Trust me, and I hate to be gross, but the best thing in the world for me was when I had to do my business in the morning, was doing my business, smoking a cigarette, and then the second best thing was drinking a cup of coffee and smoking a cigarette. And I know it's gross, but it's just such a good combination. And I'll repeat again, many people have quit smoking by using the e-cig. They've either used the nicotine or they've weaned themselves off the nicotine, and they've been smoke-free. And it's, and this is a triumph of the free market. This is a triumph of capitalism, because nobody even knew about these things or even knew they wanted it until they saw it. And then they latched onto it. And over the past 3 years, the e-cig industry has grown tremendously. I could walk into a tobacco shop, and they'll have a small section, but they'll have a section for e-cigarettes. And they'll have juices now. Back 3 years ago, they didn't have that. But now they do. You can even walk into the drugstore, and I know Walgreens sells the Blue Cig. So, this thing's really caught on, and it's caught on not through government propaganda or intervention or the so-called experts pushing. It's caught on just through word of mouth, people searching for it on the web, Maybe they watched a YouTube video and they gave it a shot. Now, there's this whole thing, well, is the company that's selling these products reputable? Is their e-juice worth a crap? And you know what? You can find that out by going on YouTube, watching videos. You can go to Yelp, where people do reviews on a particular store or vendor, and find out for yourself. So there's no excuse nowadays, because, I mean, we have the internet now, as opposed to 20 years ago where you had to rely on word of mouth or happen to catch a review in the newspaper or the local rag like the LA Weekly or something like that to know about this stuff. But now it's never been easier to get this information right in your home, on the keyboard, at your fingertips. Well, let's talk a little controversy, and I don't know how long I'm going to go into the controversy thing, but I'll tell you right now, there is some controversy. The FDA has been trying to regulate e-cigs and classify them as a tobacco product and make the people that manufacture the e-juice and the mods jump through these ridiculous hoops to get their product approved, and they're doing everything they can to get these things banned. I mean, like in Chicago, in New York City, you can't buy e-juices. You have to go outside of those areas because they ban them. And in New York City, because you got a bunch of socialist liberals running that joint, and trust me, it's a great city, but the people that run it are jerks. Or like, you can't vape in public places, you can't vape in buildings, and it's a total crock of bullshit because this is not smoke. This is water vapor. That's nothing but water vapor, people. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to get anybody lung cancer from secondhand smoke. It's simple water vapor. It's steam, for crying out loud. I mean, what are these places going to ban next? Are they going to ban teapots and humidifiers? Give me a break. So the throat hit. The FCC has been trying to crack down on these things, and I think it was back in it was probably 2011. Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong, that the FDA tried to get a ban on these, and they got taken to court, and the court told them to go pound sand. And that's what the court should do to the FCC. The FCC, I mean the FDA. Sorry about that. When I was saying FCC, I meant FDA, Food and Drug Administration. And here's and the European Union's gone after too, and they actually got it. The European Union's actually gone after e-cigs, and they've classified them as a tobacco product, which they are not. There's no tobacco in here. It's a nicotine solution, which is very different from a tobacco plant. And we all know the EU is a bunch of socialist control freaks. Now, the reason why the FDA wants to go after them and crack down on them is because the FDA does not give a damn about you, doesn't give a damn about your health. It isn't looking out for you. Okay, let's get real for a minute. The FDA is a revolving door between Big Pharma, Big Agra, and Big Tobacco. And they're just protecting their corporate cronies' interests. They don't care about you. They have their way. They ban these things outright because they're losing revenue and tax dollars from the cigarette tax. You know, because they tax cigarettes out the wazoo so they can get people to stop, which hasn't been working. I mean, we could just look at the tragic case of Eric Garner to prove that. He was out there selling loosies because the New York City cigarette tax is so damn high that most people can't afford to go buy a pack of cigarettes in the city or in the state. And when that happens, you create a black market situation. So they want their money. Okay, like I said, they don't give a crap about you. They want to take your money so they can waste it on useless crap. That's the bottom line. They don't care that this e-cig right here is helping people stop smoking. It's helping them get their health back. It's getting their lives back. And it's hopefully preventing many of them from dying a horrible lung cancer-related death or suffering a lifetime of emphysema and COPD. All right, so that's the bottom line. And then you get these yentas, these women mostly, of course they're women, and they have nothing better to do, and they got to stick their craw in everybody's business, and they don't know anything because they're freaking stupid. And they'll talk about, well, this case and such, and the battery blew up in his face, and he's maimed, and blah, 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 and he's got burns. Well, listen, idiot. If you're going to be an idiot and build your own mod, and you're not going to set it up properly, and it's an unregulated mod, and you do it too much, the battery heats up and explodes, and that's your fault for being a stupid asshole. And it's not the fault of reputable e-cig makers like Anokin Camry, the people that make the Ego batteries. It's not their fault, you know, because they have a vested interest in making a safe product, or else they'll get fucking sued. All right, so it's in their best interest to make a safe product that doesn't blow up in your face. It's called capitalism. See, if they make a product that's faulty and it injures people, they're going to get sued and go out of business. They don't want to get sued. They want to make money. And here's another thing. Then there's the same Yenta crowd that's like, oh my God, what if the kids use the e-cigarette? Oh my God, doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Okay, well, let's back the truck up. For one thing, these people that sell e-cigarettes, that sell the e-juices, once again, it's in their best interest not to sell this stuff to minors. And when I walk into a tobacco shop or order online, you know, the first thing they do is ask me is if you're 18 years or older or not. And obviously, I can't buy the frickin' product if I don't have a debit or credit card. Most minors can't get a debit or credit card unless they use their parents. And tobacco stores won't even, if they look like kids, they'll make them show a frickin' ID. I mean, come on, let's use some common sense here. So, of course they're not going to sell them to kids. And I'm going to tell you something, I might get a little crap for this, but I don't give a damn. I really don't give a damn. Is that I'd rather have a kid puffing off e-cig with nicotine in it, like I'm doing right now, just smoking a regular cigarette, because this is actually safer than a cigarette. And if I had a son, and he's like, and I busted him smoking a cigarette, I take the cigarettes and I'm like, listen, kid, you know what? We're getting you on the e-cig. I prefer you don't do either, but if you're going to do it, use an e-cig. And I'd wean him down to zero nicotine. I say, hey, use this instead. You know, because I'd rather have a teenager do this than smoke a cigarette. And if you ban these things tomorrow, teenagers are still going to find a way to get their booze, to get their smokes, to get their drugs, okay? You're not, you know, if they're really bound and determined to do it, they're going to find a way, and you're not going to be able to stop them. I hate to break this down to you, mom and dad, but that's the brass tacks and reality of this situation. Is you're not going to stop them from using one of these e-cigarettes, from smoking. So I'd rather, if they're bound and determined to do, I'd rather have them do this than do the other option, which is about 1,000,000 times as deadlier and dangerous than smoking an e-cig. I prefer they wouldn't do either. However, if they're going to do it, I'd rather have them do this. It's the lesser of two evils by like a country mile. You know, and it's just really bull crap. And I'll repeat it again. And I know I repeat myself a lot in videos, but you know what? I have to repeat it so the dumbasses will listen. The FDA does not give a crap about you. They give a crap about their corporate cronies. All right? And I think they're kind of the pharmaceutical industry, the doctors, or as I like to call them, the business sticks and lab coats, are jealous of the fact because more people have gotten off of smoking using this than using their damn patches, their damn gums, their smoking cessation therapy, or going to some damn 12-step program where they get schmober. Yes, I know a guy that's a Nicotine Anonymous, and he's schmober. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. I mean, and while if you're going to ban this, you might as well ban caffeine, because nicotine is on the same level as caffeine. So that's pretty much it. If you're a smoker, I would highly urge you to switch to an e-cig. I'd highly urge you to ditch the stinky sticks and, you know, get with the times, because this is the wave of the future right here. Because I'd rather have you stop smoking stop smoking and using e-cigarette instead of being a person like, you got to quit doing it all, you know, all of it, you know, because it's a sin and it's wrong. And yeah, you know what? I don't think the big guy likes us smoking, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure he's like, okay, you know what? They're not going to be able to stop, so they might as well do something that's a lot less lethal. Anyway, this is Grizzly907LA. I hope you found this video informative. I'm always down with constructive criticism and positive feedback. But you know what? Leave the troll comments at home. Leave the, you know, the crap about, oh, there's a lot of anti-aliasing in your screencast videos. And if there's a better way I could do it, please let me know. But you know what? You know, just don't go like criticizing me without leaving some suggestions. Otherwise, just don't even bother commenting. That's it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.